Good evening, this is Kathleen Griffin. Today is Tuesday, March 8th. It is 6:33 p.m. This is an evening hearing of the Board of Assessment Appeals in Room 2. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I should have probably pulled my papers out a little bit more before I invited you guys up. I should know my script by now. So, I'm Kathleen Griffin. I'm one of 7 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals. I'm here to hear your appeal, and I'm just going to state a few things for you for the record, and you can just correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see here. So, let's see. Your appeal number is 87. The property address is 1894 Cross Highway. Yep. The owners of the property are Bernard and Cynthia McDonald.
Yep.
The town has your property appraised at $2,649,500.
Correct.
And you're requesting a reduction to $2,100,000.
Correct.
Okay, great. And now the next thing I'm going to do is just confirm who you are, whether you're the owners or an agent acting on behalf of the owner. And if you could just state your name for the record.
I'm Cynthia McDonald, owner.
Bernard McDonald, owner. Bill Fitzpatrick, agent.
Okay. So the other thing I'm going to ask you to do is just sign that you were here on this, I'm going to have you raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you in. Bill doesn't have to do that. And then once I do that, it'll be good. All right. Of course, I gave you the sheet of paper that has the oath on it. Okay, so if you want to raise your right, hand, you can tell I wasn't ready. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, great. So if you can just sign on those 2 lines for me, I'll date it and sign it later, and Bill can sign it as well. I'm just going to write down that you were here. And this one, let's see. Perfect, thanks. Okay, so. That's the next one. Okay, so now this is your opportunity to tell us why you don't believe the market value is $2,600,000 and is the requested value that you're asking.
The requested value we're asking is the 2.1 fair market value, which in turn is $1,470,000 of assessed value. We've had the perfect storm here where we're trying to establish the value as of October 1, 2020. I recognize we're taking the appeal only on the list of October 1, 2021 and going forward. But based on the list of October 1, 2020, my clients entered into a contract to purchase 1894 Cross Highway on July 22nd, 2020. There's a copy of the contract, this executed contract of sale in the application. I have an extra copy if you'd like it, Kathleen. Our closing date was October 1, 2020, the very date that we're trying to determine fair market value as. The dollars arrived the next AM, so we recorded the next AM. We recorded October 2nd, 2020. As the Town of Fairfield's assessor's website says, the best evidence of the fair market value of a property is the price a property would bring on the open market, given prudent, knowledgeable, and willing buyers and sellers. Fair market value is the standard by which the fairness of all assessments are judged. We've got a July 22nd, 2020 contract with a price of $2,020, and I've submitted a warranty deed for the very same, for $2,000,001. I've submitted a warranty deed dated September 28, 2020, recorded in the Town of Fairfield Land Records on October 2nd, 2020, which sets forth a consideration paid of $2,000,001. I don't need to get an appraisal. I've got the absolute best evidence, and it just happens to be the very date that you're trying to determine fair market value of. The McDonald's will be perfectly able to tell you that they didn't. This was not an inside deal. They negotiated. We had inspections. We had this and that. It was fair market value, and it was an arm's length transaction.
We never met the people.
There
We
you
never
go.
met them. I've never bought a house, but I never met them.
And you still haven't, or you said?
Still haven't.
Still haven't? Oh,
No.
wow. Okay, I mean, you know, you've been doing a few of these, you know that this is a fairly, uncomplicated.
No, this is
Yeah.
as clean as I can
I
get.
was gonna say, it's a nice way to start the night. I guess the only other questions that we typically ask when there are sales, and it was a qualified sale, it was arm's length transaction. Do you have any idea how long the property was on the market and whether it had a list price, you know, what list price was it when you purchased it, and how long was it on? Do you have any idea? And that is information we can get. I just thought if you knew.
I think it was on maybe a year.
Okay, so it would have been, it's not like it was in 24 hours in
Oh,
use
no.
now?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. And whether the listing price was somewhere,
They dropped it a couple of times.
they dropped it,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that it was too high when they listed it, right?
Mhm.
They may have been listening to the town.
Well, I think that might have been true, actually.
Where they try to get the town to buy it? Is that-
No,
No,
they weren't paying attention to what the town's value was
Oh.
when they listed it.
Yeah,
I-
yeah. No,
Who knows?
that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, so always we usually try to find out, you know, was it a bank sale or anything like that? The answer
Oh,
is
no.
no, it wasn't a fire sale. It was on the
Oh, no.
market. It had, you know, good market time that somebody else had wanted it at the higher price, at the 2.6 price or whatever, it could have gone. So certainly sounds like to me, you know, they were all above board and, you know, no complications, no family transfers, nothing like that.
No relationships. I do want to give you a copy just to make sure.
No, I have a whole file.
Okay.
So do you want, and it's all scanned in, so I'll let you.
All right, then I feel
so
safe.
You're welcome to give me a second one if you want, but.
No,
I
it's
think-
just I don't have the gold standard very often, Kathleen.
And I did all the comps, too.
Yeah. But then you went and did all these comps for me,
I
I
did
said,
all the
no,
comps.
I won't use them.
For all of
I
it.
mean, you're certainly welcome to add them to the
No,
file if
I'm
you
not.
want to, but,
I got the best comp.
Your best comp is, one that's
I got
been on the
you.
market for a while, and, I hope you're enjoying the home and.
Oh, we like it.
Yeah, is this your first home in Fairfield?
No.
Second.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've been here for a bit.
Yeah.
Nice
Great.
up there, great location, and, appreciate you coming in, and.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, we will be deliberating starting next week.
Okay.
We'll make our decisions hopefully within 2 weeks of that. You'll get notified within 7 days in the mail. If you, don't get a reduction, you can come back next year. If you do get a reduction, you can't come back for 4 years. And, if you don't like our decision, you can appeal to court. And Bill can probably tell you how to do that as well
I
as the
sure
letter
can.
you receive.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Kathleen.
All right, have a great trip, enjoy your time. So-
Okay, yeah, thanks for your
Take
time.
care.
There-
Okay, you know I'm running to get my computer.
Hey, Stephanie. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, yeah.
You have a break?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go out and see if my son is here, so. Are you in the big room?
Yeah. Do you know if there's a Wi-Fi,
Well, Rachel's right down there. You want to send it to, Ken? Send me through. I'm gonna double check with my dad, but.
I don't know. I'm not very savvy on that one.
You say owner password.
Hopefully, that'll get you where you need to go. If not, I can certainly make copies.
And you need to go to that.
Right? Just so you know, your 7 o'clock is here.
Okay.
So, whenever you're ready.
Say one day you have to do this here, and I think up there, I found like, there's something written, so.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
There you go, read it in color, like you do. Although I think I colored the wrong thing. Oh, no, actually, is that it? Yeah, this is right, anything you read is right, so.
So I'm good to go?
You can send her up
Very
for
good.
him, whoever, yeah.
Follow the light and we'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, I'm in here. Hi,
Hi.
I'm Kathleen Griffin. Feel free to have a seat. I am one of 7 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals, and I'm going to hear your appeal tonight. I just want to let you know that your appeal is being recorded here on the phone on the table there. Okay, and it is, let's see, 6:51 p.m. You know what, I'm gonna close the outer door, yeah. I was here by myself last night, so it wasn't noisy, but when you got 2 of us, it's probably real. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is just read a couple things into the record, and I just want you to correct me if any of it is wrong. So, your appeal number is 55. The property address is 90 Noyes Road. The owner of the property is Stephanie Kierick. Okay, the town has a property valued at $508,800, and you're requesting a reduction to $405,000. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is confirm whether you're the owner of the property or an authorized agent on behalf of the property. So if you could just state your name for the record.
My name is Stephanie Kierick. I am the owner.
Okay, great. And then the next thing is to raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, great. I'm just going to have you sign a piece of paper here saying that I swore you in. There should be a pen over there. And I have all the information at the top. None of that needs to be changed, so you just need to sign on that signature line right there. Like the nail color.
Oh, thank you. I'm
Fun.
pushing spring here.
I was going to say, reminds me of like, right, Robin's egg. Yeah, I can sign the bottom there. I know, I'm waiting for the crocus to show up.
I know, they should be. Well,
right?
tomorrow now it's supposed to snow. So.
Is it really?
Rain and snow mixture most of the day.
Oh my goodness, like I said, I've been paying attention to the weather, so. All right, thank you so much. Okay. And so now this is your opportunity to provide testimony as to why you believe the market value of your home on October 1st, 2020 is $405,000 and not the value assigned by the town. Market value is what your home most likely would have sold for on October 1st, 2020. So please try to be as succinct or short or whatever as possible.
Well, I'll be very.
And it's fine. You're early, we're good, I got plenty of time tonight, so no worries.
I just am always concerned about my little house on this beautiful road that I live on in this very beautiful area of Fairfield, the university area. And I don't know if you've been down Noyes Road. It's that little elbow straight, and it has these beautiful houses on it. And then you have my little racetrack. And, you know, it was a property that was owned by another house there and it was just subdivided, and this little house was put on this property. And so I'm always worried that I am assessed, I'm evaluated, I'm whatever, by all of these other houses on my street right there in my area.
Okay.
And in my calculations, the tax increase was 37.7%, which is really high, really high. So I looked up all the other houses on my street and in some of the other areas right around, and they're 16%, 17%. One was 27, which I think was the highest other than mine. And so I just think that my house was assessed at a much higher rate. There's been no improvements on the house. The footprint is exactly the same. There's no swimming pool in the backyard. There's no, and also on this, it says that I did some improvement on the house, which, I'm not sure. I mean, I took a bathtub out and put a shower in for my disabled sister. And that was the improvement on the house, so I'm not sure.
That's listed for now. The card I have is a year old, so that was on 9/17/2020. I don't know, do you have, see if you have the card there? Yeah, in the upper right corner, there's a print date on it. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Way up at the top, does it say 3/8/2021,
Yeah.
3/18? Okay, so, yeah, the cards online are a year old. There's another view of them that is not as old as that, but let me see if I can find it.
I think,
Yeah, so, because it looks like it's zero complete. Did you get a CO or did you get an inspection when it was done?
yes.
Okay, so that could have bumped it a little bit in the last year, but I'd have to look because that card's a year old. If you finished it, let me see.
I did see that someplace.
Yeah, it would be on, there's another card that looks straight, it's kind of the web page, and that page is up to date, but not the, I know. Keep asking for the cards to be updated, hopefully in the next month, but it didn't get done in time. We 90 Noise Road.
So, yeah, again, it was, just a shower, bathtub taken out and a shower put in.
And the permit was for $6,700, right? Remodeled bath for AC, yeah, AC, so that's for the handicap. Okay, so I don't think, let me just look and see, I don't think, that much of a remodel isn't gonna bump it from 1 year. No, it doesn't look like you changed from 2020 to 2021, so, yeah, it didn't even probably change it, so that's not the reason. I can't speak for the assessor's office, but I don't think that's the reason, so. So what we're trying to get to is what the market value of your house would have been on October 1st, 2020. So do you have so what we really try to look at for is comparable sales of properties, not necessarily percentage increases because, well, how can I say this? Like a piece of land is going to have a value with no house on it. So your neighbor's piece of land, if it's the same size as your piece of land, is going to have the same value for the land. Because a quarter acre on Noise Road is pretty much going to be the same unless maybe you're on the busy corner, it might be worth a little bit less.
Right.
So when the assessor does the information, so people when their houses have a lot more value, everybody's land's the same, so if your house isn't valued very much, your percentage is going to go way up when your land goes up. And so that may be what happened, is everybody on your street's land went up, but because they have big houses, the percentage of their total didn't change very much, right? Because they still have a lot of house worth something. If your house isn't worth very much, so I can look at your card. So on the upper right corner, it tells me that your land is valued at $390 and your house at $117 for a total of $508. So that's how they do it. So everybody's land probably went up on Noise, but because their houses might be worth, I can look at them, but I'm guessing they probably have more house value than you. Here's one that's $261. Right, this person's house is worth almost $400,000 according to the town. So that's why the percentage change is because your land got more valuable regardless of how much,
Right.
how good your house is or not, because if you knocked it down, the land would still sell for some price. So I think
So you
that's
think
the
that-
reason that the percentages are higher for you, just because your land is such a big percentage of your property as a whole. I don't know if I explained that.
Yes, I understand.
Got it, okay.
I
So
understand.
that helps you with the percentage, so what I'm trying
I
to.
don't really agree so much with the percentage, because,
Yeah.
I mean, you do sell as a whole, even though I
Right.
understand the
That's how
property.
that's how the computer works. So that's what they do. They assign something to the land, and then they assign something to your house, and they come up with a number, and hopefully it matches sales. So what we like to figure out is on October 1st of 2020, regardless of what the percentages went up, would your house have sold for $508,000 if it was on the market? And it wasn't on the market, right? You didn't
No,
list
it was not on the market.
So do you have any other raised ranches or streets?
I looked at a lot of the other raised ranches. I
Good.
couldn't actually find one that was comparable to my house.
Okay.
Either in age of house or the number of square feet. So I didn't want to bring something in that wasn't actually
Okay.
close to what.
Okay, so you couldn't find any that were either in age or that were
Right.
similar
You know,
square
raised
footage?
ranches are not popular houses.
Yes, we know that, yeah. So the values on the raised ranches tend to be a little bit lower
Yeah.
for the house. Is your house in good shape inside? Like, have you been maintaining it and?
Well, it's somewhat maintained. I mean, it doesn't have, I haven't changed things like, the countertops are not granite, and,
Right.
bathrooms have not been redone. They're painted and things like that, but the house is very similar to when I bought it
Okay.
100 years ago.
Now you have air conditioning, you don't have air conditioning?
No air conditioning.
Okay. And it looks like it's about 1/4 of an acre, right? So
Yeah.
that's the size of your property.
A
right?
little less, but basically, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then, so my other question was, so like, the only other street I can think of that's close to you that has some raised ranches on it would be like Paper Mill, right? That's not too far from you. Paper Mill's the one that runs between Round Hill and Round Hill and North Benson? I think so. So it's pretty close to Noyes, a little closer to the, kind of backs up to the McDonald's, a little bit closer to there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I know there's some raised ranches in there. So whether those sold on or around October 1st, 2020. I'm just trying to figure out, how did you come up with your price of $405?
Just by looking at different houses in the area.
Okay, so other
Different-
raised ranches?
Yeah,
Okay.
raised ranches, which again, are not easy to find really,
Right,
right
okay.
in my area.
Okay. It's hard when you don't sell, if you had sold your house in October of 2020, you had it on the market, then we would be able to say, okay, you had it on for 500 and nobody tried to buy it, right?
Right.
But since you didn't,
Right.
then we start to look, okay, what sold?
I
and
love
what-
Fairfield. I don't want to.
I hear ya. I've been here a long time, too.
I am getting older though. My house, has stairs, a raised ranch, and I don't do so well with that, but I love my little house there and
That's a cute street,
want
yeah.
to keep it. So, but, the taxes
The
are a
taxes are
killer.
going up, I hear
The
ya.
taxes are a killer. I'm
Mhm.
sure you've been hearing that quite
I
often.
have, yeah. So like I said, I think that's why the percentages on your street, right or wrong, so it's just, how did you come to the 405 number? And you just think you saw other
I
ranches?
just took an average of some of the other houses that I've seen, and again, not necessarily right in my area,
Mhm.
because I couldn't really find much
Okay.
that were similar to my house.
An average of ones that have sold or ones that were appraised by the town? Like every other
I
range?
guess it would be a combination of both.
Okay, you looked at some sales,
Some sales, because there isn't, again, much.
right. And
Um,
Naperville comes to mind just because we've been doing, we go back to October 1st, 2020, so everybody who came in last year, for 5 years, everyone's going to be using the same sales. They're going to be looking at the same sales because we don't change the year for 5 years. So we're always looking at sales around October 1, 2020. And so I feel like last year there were some on paper mill or
paper.
some, yeah, some raised ranches and stuff,
I
but.
don't know that I've looked at
You
that.
don't look, okay, I was just trying to think of a street that had them, because you're right, in that particular part of town, there's not a lot of raised ranches. You might go up North Benson, you know, and find some in there, but that's kind of a different neighborhood.
And there's a couple on the other side of Fairfield View, across, going towards Bridgeport area, but across
Yeah.
North Benson, down in that area, there's one or two.
Mm-hmm. But they're mostly colonials, right? They're mostly 20s and 30s.
Yeah, they're
and 40s
mostly colonials, Center Hall colonials, or what, like what's on my street.
Right.
You know, I'm
Right.
very lucky. It's so weird to be on my street with my house. I'm sure my neighbors are not happy.
Well, you look
I always felt like that. I felt like, oh, my neighbors are probably like, oh, they built this house here.
Yeah, but you know, it certainly looks like you're taking care of it from the outside, you know, at least from the photo, and they probably took this last year when they did the revaluation, so they've got some, you know.
I try to keep it neat.
Yeah, it looks good, and it looks good. It's certainly a convenient location to be able to get to the university or to town or highway.
It is a convenient location. It is that. And so I was looking at your, you know, the website and all the, and it's 2020.
Is that chart in here, did you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let me just see if I can find it. I see the map.
So
Oh, here it is, yep, change in
It
value.
says the university area.
Mm-hmm.
And it says percent change. Maybe you can explain this to me. -1%. What is that pertaining to?
Sure, so if you look at the top of the left column over there, you see where it says neighborhood name, and then there's a count for the number of properties in that neighborhood.
Correct.
So it's not a real neighborhood the way that we think of it. It's the way that the assessor groups properties. And so you have a copy of the assessor's map here, so you seem to maybe understand, right? This map corresponds with this.
Right.
So basically, if you look at the 1,500 properties, what they're saying is that out of the 1,500 properties that are included in neighborhood number, I think university is 73.
Right.
That are in neighborhood 73, the average change in price was -1%.
How can
So
I-
some people will go up 30%, some would go down, but the average change in there is -1.
Could I be -1?
Everybody says, I want what my neighbor has. That's the number one thing people say. They have that, I want what they have. And I'm always like, okay, but I need to know what your house would have sold for on October 1st, 2020. I need you to tell me that, because your neighbor might be too low, your neighbor might be too high.
So in 2020, I'm just curious as to the time frame. So is 2020, was that like during COVID?
The end of COVID.
Is that why all of this went up so much? Because people were buying?
And the market's still up, you know? So it's not, you know, some people say, well, I want, you know, the pre-COVID price, and the answer is, well, the whole town was affected. Property values went up because of COVID. It wasn't one neighborhood or another. I mean, the beach might have taken the biggest advantage of that, because
everybody.
But even Greenfield Hill, where no one wanted to live up there, their properties, you know, all the inventory cleared out. I mean, the stuff just sold. People were, you know, over asking. So the answer is yes, COVID definitely drove everything up, but if everybody moves up, then the pie normally stays, you know, the pizza stays the same unless the demand gets better in some areas other than others. So, you know, for the town in general, people tended to want to be in the last 5 years or even around COVID, they wanted to be in the beach area, they wanted to walk to town, like that's more desirable. So there's probably, I mean, I think the beach went up by what, like 20% or something? If you look at them, you know, if you look at neighborhood, where is it here? There's not a lot, but down at the beach, they went up. Reef Road, 16%, Fairfield Beach Road, 20%. So that's all the properties, the 378 properties of the 662. All those properties went way up in COVID, where the ones, and Sapco Hill went down but that's also compared to 15. So if we didn't do a good job in 15 and they were overvalued, they were going to naturally, you know, adjust down, which is kind of what happened in 15. We kind of overvalued Greenfield Hill and Sapco. They were too high. So that's why they got the big drop.
So it's 90 Noise Road.
Definitely steps that you can walk to town, so that's, and so, yeah, you have to look at the map and see, what properties exactly in the university area caused the 1% drop, because for me, I wouldn't have personally expected to see that, because you can get to the train in town really easily from that neighborhood, so, and I don't think it was necessarily overvalued the last time, where Sasko Hill definitely, and all those people appealed in 15, and Greenfield Hill, they all, because they were, the houses were $5 million and they were selling for $2.5 million, right after the reval in 15. So those had been, so that's why you see those huge drops up there, if that makes sense. Just because he's comparing what it was in 15 to today. So compared to where they were then, it's sort of like a swing, and then probably the next time the beach will probably drop and those areas will go up in another 5 years. Like, how do you catch the market, right? The demand. It is a science and a little bit of an art, So why you're that percentage compared to your neighbors, like I said, it's probably the land, what a tear down would sell for in the university area. And if someone's going to pay $500,000 for a quarter-acre lot to build a home on, then your land alone is going to be worth $500,000. So that's
but
your little piece.
My footprint is the footprint that it can be.
Your deed restricted?
Yeah, you can't do anything else.
That's important. Okay, why is that?
That's what they told me when I purchased it, that there isn't any way to go out. I'm like surrounded on, 4 sides, well, so straight. I mean, you can't.
You're up against even though you have 0.26 acres. Okay. Are you in a half-acre zone? No.
No.
Okay.
I don't. No.
But you can't add on or
anything. But you can't add on.
Okay.
So that's another
that
non-selling point that you really.
That affects the value of your property. So, yeah, that's good to know that. I don't know that that's noted on your card or not.
I don't think it should be. I wonder.
If you can give me a copy of that description you have.
And where would I find?
Probably the town clerk's office. You probably even look it up online.
Okay.
If you own your property, right? Well, even if you don't, even if the bank did, the town clerk's office can show you the deed. So if you have, or maybe, I don't know if the building department can tell you, and the deeds are now all online. You can look it up.
Okay, look up the deed.
Yeah, and we have an email, baa@fairfieldct.org. So BAA for Board of Assessment Appeals at fairfieldct.org. And in the line, just put in my name, Kathleen Griffin or whatever, and put your appeal number, which is 55. So just show me that you have a deed restriction on your land, a building, because that does affect someone who wants to come in and take your house down, because your lot's going to be worth less, therefore your land is worth less.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I've always wondered, I've never looked up the deed, and I should have done that, because that was one of the things that they said to me when I was going to buy the house. They said, this is it, you can't add on, you can't, because you're at the maximum all the way around your property.
Your lot coverage. Okay.
So I'm like, well, I don't plan on making it any bigger, so I'm good.
Well, when someone wants to tear it down in a neighborhood full of colonials.
And that's what my son-in-law goes. He goes, don't do anything to this house, because whoever buys this, you're going to tear it down. I'm like, no, they can't tear it down, because this is, I guess they could tear it down and build
on the same foundation, which is what people do if they can't start from scratch. But most of the developers these days are going to pay more for a lot that they can start from scratch. So between the town clerk and and also zoning, Emmeline at the desk in zoning, if you have time to stop in and see her or whatever, she could probably also tell you if there's any restrictions on your lot.
Okay, and what was that?
Emmeline or anybody in zoning. Emmeline Harrigan is very nice, or Jim, anybody at the desk there, she can help you with that, but I would get a copy of your deed first.
Okay, is zoning in this building?
No, town clerk is here, but you can probably get your deed online.
Okay.
You don't even have, you don't need an official copy. You're not selling your property. So I think you can print it from home or take a screenshot.
Okay.
And then you just need to have them call it up and take a look at your lot in zoning and see if say, here's my deed. and they may be able to look the deed. She might be able to do it for you without getting a copy, but it'd probably be good for you just to look at it first.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
call her or email over there and say, you know, I'm before the Board of Assessment Appeals, you know, they were asking me, are there any, you know, building restrictions on my lot? Can you help me figure that out?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And
great.
that would be helpful for, you know, like I said, that affects the value of your land. And like I said, the reason you went up so high probably is because land value in the university area went,
Okay.
yeah. And
All
compared to your neighbors with the 400, 500,000, even if their land went up by 100, their house didn't go, you know what I'm saying? So that's why your percentage is high.
That's so high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's
All right.
always helpful, because that makes sure less value, you know, to someone who would tear it down. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, glad you like it, glad you're here.
Well, thank you.
Do you have any other questions for us?
I don't.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't think so. I was just going to tell you that, you know, we, as a board, we meet all together. I'll represent your case to the board. We're going to start deliberations next week. Once we vote on the property, then within 7 days of the vote, you'll get a letter in the mail with our decision. If we deny you, you can come back next year. If we grant you a reduction, you can't come back for 4 years till the next reval, so that would be in like 2025.
Okay.
And if we, you know, you don't like our decision either way, you can always go the next step and take it to court. So
Okay.
that's totally fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I know that we're waiting for that paperwork from you, so if you can, I will just say, you know, I'm gonna wait on the vote. If you could get us something, you know, by the end of the week or
Sure,
by next
sure.
Monday or Tuesday,
Okay.
that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, just an answer one way or another, or send an email and say, you know what, I realize there are no restrictions on my land, and, you know, anybody wants to hear about it. Might not help you with your taxes, but might help you think about the future, because then your property's probably worth more, right? So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I appreciate you seeing me a few minutes early.
No, not at all, and I'm glad you brought up, you know, the restrictions on your property. That's an important thing, so. Glad we got that in at the end there.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. I should know that. I should have a copy of the deed anyway, I think. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening. I
You too.
hope you don't have to stay too late.
9 o'clock, not too bad.
I don't have anybody yet, but
Okay.
if they do come in, I can send them up, is that okay?
Yeah, it'll be my 720, right?
Correct.
2005 Fairfield Beach Road.
Correct.
Okay, and
They
then
have
after,
yet, they have yet to arrive, but,
is it, what time is it? Oh, yeah, 7:18.
yeah, so they might, I'm just trying to save myself a trip up the stairs, that's
Yeah,
all.
nope, I'm ready for them, and then after that, I think I have, 3 appeals with the same attorney, it sounds like, so,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
so I just don't want to start him without giving them, you know, a little bit of breather, because otherwise, they'll wait a long time.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Thanks. okay.
Yeah, I know. Then to be respectful and all that. There you go. And, you just want to follow the light.
Follow the light. Hello, hello.
Hi, Becky.
Oh,
How
you
are
have a
you?
screen, excellent.
I know, and if you want me to wear a mask.
No, I
will.
brought my mask, I was just asking, are we supposed to be wearing them, and I'm trying to be
No.
respectful of people, so I'm
Yeah.
happy not to.
There's not one in, there's no mask mandate in town hall right now, so we're.
I know. I just try to, like, be nice, just in case people want.
I know. I never know. I'm gonna close this outside door. Oh, he did. Okay, sometimes it gets noisy in the hallway, that's all. So, all right, as you, I'll just go through my spiel. I want to make sure that recording is still on. Yep. So I'm Kathleen Griffin. I'm one of 7 members of the Board of Assessment Appeal. I'm here to hear your appeal tonight, and it's also being recorded there on the phone. And the current time is 7:21 p.m. So I'm just going to read a few things into the record, and just correct me if any of it is wrong. Your appeal number is 74. The property address is 2005 Fairfield Beach Road. The owner of the property is Rebecca Bunnell Trust, or something close to that. Okay. The town has the property valued at $1,617,800, and you're asking it to be reduced to $1,517,800.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is ask you to state your name for the record and whether you are the owner or an authorized agent on behalf of the owner.
I am an authorized agent, but the trust is actually the technical owner of the house.
Okay. And your name is?
Rebecca Bunnell.
Okay, great. And then please raise your right hand and I will swear you in. So, do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do so affirm.
Okay, great. So now's your opportunity to provide your testimony as to why you believe the market value is, I think it's what, $100,000 less than the town has it. And that's obviously what it would have most likely sold for on that date. So
Yeah, so what I basically did is took a look at what the town had on the rate card at the time of the assessment appeal, or the assessment itself. I looked at how they broke out the value per square footage of each of the different floors. And then I looked at the living space that was calculated on the rate, not the rate card, what is it called, the property card?
The property card.
The property card.
Or appeal card. Some people call them appeal cards, yeah.
And I think what I'm trying to say is that we have a hardship living down at the beach. We are required by the town and by FEMA to elevate our houses, to make them flow through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now what that means is that the water has to flow underneath our house over and back as many times as it needs to when you have a storm, when there's a high tide, whatever. So you really have no storage under the house. There's obviously no basements in a FEMA compliant house. So your only opportunity for storage is trying to find closet space, and in our case, we're using our 3/4 space primarily for storage. And even though it is conditioned space, and I understand that the way the town values things is if it's conditioned space, it's considered livable space, but it's not livable in the sense that we can't actually use it for living because that is our only place that we can store things. And what we have done is we have used 2 rooms and part of a 3rd room up on our 3/4 floor for our storage. And we've carved out actually a small part of that floor for a home office because of COVID. So we do use some of it, and that's why I'm not asking for the full 3/4 floor to be considered, not non-livable space, because we do use some of it. We use it for an office, and we use the bathroom up there. And
Oh, you have a bathroom up there?
Yes, there's a bathroom and an office that we do use. We pretty much, these are all just sort of big rooms up there. There are no closets. They're not really anything there other than just, and if you know how 3/4 work in the beach area, your top of the highest part of that floor is 6 feet 11 inches, and it slopes down to the sides where you can't really stand up straight on the side because it's about 5 feet. Well, I'm 5'10", so I have trouble standing up on the sides.
Yeah, I've owned some capes in my life, so I know what it's like to bump your head getting in bed in the dormers. So, yeah.
So it's not as if this is like this is an easy place to live anyway, because you have to like crouch down if you're on the far sides of each of the sides of the house. And I showed a little floor plan here showing what it looks like.
Yep, and it shows where the bathroom is, right?
Yeah,
And where
the
your,
floor plan, yeah. And then there's a mechanical room, which normally doesn't count as livable space. So all of our mechanics are in I've noted where the mechanical room is, but that was charged as if it was livable space.
okay.
I showed you some pictures of what we're storing up there. It's a bunch of furniture, chairs and dressers and just, I mean, it's stuff that we can't really store anywhere else.
Right. You don't have like a storage place and, Westies or anything
I mean, I
like that.
guess we could buy one, but it's like, you've got the
Put a
space.
pod in your house.
We've got the space and then we're not using it, then why not? Only my husband and I live there and we have 2 other floors.
Yeah, you have plenty, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, I understand why, they want to use the 3/4 floor as if it's full livable space, but I think I'm asking for an exception because of the hardship living in the beach area and the fact that you cannot store anything. There's no basement, there's no garage in the sense of a storage area. I do store my car under there, and we have a couple bikes, but I've moved the bikes up if it's gonna be a hurricane, and I move the car away.
Right, can you lock your garage?
No.
No, so, okay.
It has to be open,
All around?
or at least in slats.
Right.
And we have 2 complete openings. I mean, anyone could walk into that garage.
Right, okay. And so when you're looking at the front of it, these windows here are facing Fairfield Beach Road, right? Is that where the office is, or the office on the other side?
The office is actually on the beach side. We
So
figured,
this is something different. That must be your storage.
what that
Where
little,
that bay window is up
that
here.
little window up there is actually what's called a cupola. The
So
stairs
this
are on
is
the
the
front.
cupola, but how about this window right there? That's your 3rd floor, right?
Yes.
Okay, but that's not your office there. That's
No,
on the water side.
you're seeing the street side now, so that I could show you a picture of the water side. We've chosen to put the office on the water side just because it's pretty.
I would too. Okay. Oh, so maybe that's where the stairs are then.
You can see the stairs on the front, I mean, and right above those stairs, that's where that kind of cupola thing is, and those
Got
3
it.
windows are.
Okay, yep, that makes sense. So it's not really room there. Okay,
Yeah, and to be fair, there is a little walkway back to the office. I didn't show that on this, but there's a little, you can actually walk to the office. Very small, there's a walkway.
And on your card, they have the 3rd floor as, let's see.
And I should have probably done the math. I just took 100,000 off just as a round number, but what I should have probably done is done the square footage calculation on the 3rd floor and said, what is the actual office? I don't know if you count bathrooms or not, so the bathroom and office space would be what I would consider livable
Yeah,
space.
and the bathroom provides value because you've got a bathroom in there, and then the other part would be, it's never like a 1-to-1 ratio, because if you have like another 20 feet in your house, it doesn't make your house that much more valuable. So it's, right, so everyththing like land and probably even parts of the house are on a curve, because, the first however many is worth more than every incremental part.
Yeah.
So,
And then the other, sorry.
yeah, no, go ahead.
The other thing I tried to look at was comparable houses in my immediate neighborhood, and only one of them was within the appraisal period, which I think was 420, was the sale.
Okay.
And that was 2087 Fairfield Beach Road, and that was a little bit less square footage, but again, if you looked at the square footage without the 3rd floor, it would be 2258, and 2087 is 2747.
And how much did that one sell for? You said it sold in April of 2020?
Yeah, and I only, when I have the appraised value that I presented, I should have actually noted that's the house appraised value, because I considered the land.
Oh, you didn't look at the whole.
The land, well, the land is the land, and I'm not contesting the land, I'm contesting the house value.
Okay.
So I didn't actually, I should have, so that may be a little unfair, but they renovated it in 2020, so theirs is actually much more renovated than mine, and their house is, on their field card is 333.9 versus 514.7. And again, if you take my square footage, which is on my field card is 3154, and without taking the 3rd floor off completely, 2258, but again, putting back the 100 square feet of the office, putting a little bit of the bathroom and some others, it would still be less than the 2747.
So is 1987, is 1987 Fairfield Beach Road, the whole 194 is the entire value of the house? At 1987, you have 194,600. They renovated in 2018, that sold in April of 17.
Oh, that's 1987? Yeah, 194,600, yeah.
That's the whole house is worth 190.
That's the whole house, and that's right,
The
that's 3 down from me.
Okay.
And you know, here's the issue, and I'm just being honest, they didn't pull permits. It doesn't show up on their field card. I guarantee you, they did a major renovation. It is a gorgeous new house. All the bathrooms, all the kitchens are all done. It was
After
done
they bought it or before?
after they bought
After
it.
they
It
bought
was
it.
done, and they didn't pull permits, and we all know down there, but the town doesn't know it, so it's showing, so I understand why it's so low.
Why
because
that's
it's
low?
Being
Do you know
shown,
what they paid for it? Is it, I can probably look it up, what is it, 1987?
1987. I want to say that they
And I know it was before.
paid $1 million,
Oh, did you look it
maybe?
up? Copy card. Let's just see, that's 1987. So the only thing that I can see, I mean, again, we try to get to I understand the measurement part, but we try to get to like what your house would have sold for, right? So that's,
Right.
yeah, so that one, so 1987 sold for $1,256,000. In 2017, they paid them, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sold for $1,020,000. And then
they put,
yeah, I see the pictures of it here, and then they put a bunch of money into it
they put a
after
bunch
they
of
bought
money in,
it.
but they did not pull the permit, so it doesn't show up on the field card.
Yeah, no, you won't see it if they don't,
No.
yeah.
You won't see it if it's not, if
It
they
hasn't
pull a
gone on
permit.
the market, right, hasn't
It hasn't
gone back
gone
on
on
for
the market.
sale.
Well, it's on the market right now for she's never gonna get it because it's leaning, it has like little things that hold it up. She's got it on the market for some ridiculous amount, which she'll never get. I think she has it on for like 2.5 or, I have no idea, but it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
She won't get it. She's a realtor, she's just, I'm not
Sometimes
gonna.
when the pictures are online, that's enough for the assessor to know that it's there. You know, it's,
Yeah, so I understand
Anyway.
why they have that as much lower, and I get it
Mhm.
because it doesn't show any of the renovation that they did.
right. Okay, so I think, I mean, in terms of like your upstairs and stuff, I think if it's okay with you, I will have someone from the assessor's office come out and just measure your upstairs and take a look at it
Yeah.
and make sure that,
They
you
can
know,
come look
they're,
and see
whatever
it.
their
They can measure
standard,
the, you know,
the mechanical room, and make sure
Yeah.
that they've got the square footage correct in your
Yeah,
attic for
because there is
you.
little walkways, you know, to get back to the office, so, I mean, obviously that's,
Yeah.
well, I guess if you could call that usable space, I mean, I have to get to the office.
I think if it's finished, and then when they do the 3/4, like, you know, even if you had a 3/4 story and it's all finished, they take a percentage of it. Or if you have like a cape, right, the upstairs isn't the same as the upstairs of a
Well,
colonial.
they've already done that, though, I think, because I
They've
looked
done
on my
some of
field
that,
card,
right.
because the square footage they showed for the 3/4 floor, and it is actually a lot lower, because it's narrower, I mean, it's just less than the second floor. And
Right.
so they've already done that, and they calculate the 3/4 floor at a lower dollar per square foot amount on the rate card, if you see that. But,
Yeah.
so I understand how they did the valuation.
Mhm.
My contention is livable space versus usable space versus non-livable space. And the hardship of living at the beach where you have no other storage but your, well,
Right. I don't know in the beach area if they, you know, take that into consideration for all those homes that would have, you know,
Yeah.
you take X% and say, okay, these people need
well,
storage.
all the ones that aren't raised, who have attics, they're storing stuff in there and they're getting charged nothing.
Right.
Zero.
And they're storing stuff in their attic because it's unfinished.
Well, some of them are finished, but they're all getting charged nothing. So it's only the ones that are elevated that are getting charged this 3/4 level.
That shouldn't, it should have something to do with the height of the ceiling, you know what I'm saying? Like,
If
it's finished heated space up there and it's livable space, like it qualifies, it meets the height restrictions and all that.
Well, what's the
then
height restriction for livable?
it's,
It's 5 feet on the
guys
side.
can tell you,
I
well,
can't.
as long as you have certain height in the middle,
And that's why they're 6'11", and I am 6'11".
you're
I'm
probably,
for-
yeah, I don't know what it is, the guy, if they come and measure, they'll be able to tell you exactly how they calculate it, you know.
Yeah.
Ken or someone can come out and take a look
Yeah.
and remeasure and make sure that, you
And
know,
it
they
could be
have it
that if
finished.
they only consider it livable, maybe only this part is livable, and.
That's why they
as
take
it
a
goes
percentage,
down.
right, where if that was a colonial up there and it was full height ceiling everywhere, it wouldn't be,
Yeah.
you know, they wouldn't take a percentage off as being finished. But
Yeah.
generally, when there's heat, sheetrock, you know, just because you're not using that as finished other people might be able to,
Yeah.
you know,
not
use
need
it
the
as a bedroom for their kids or whatever, if it's heated and it has a nice view and it's upstairs, so.
Yeah,
that's
but no,
the hard part.
that's fair, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
have them come look, and if that helps.
Yeah, I will, I'll put in a request to the office if that's okay, and then they
Yeah.
can at least get your square, you know, they can explain it to you a little bit, or they can measure and take a look and make sure your mechanical room isn't being included and some other things.
I mean, mechanical room shouldn't be included, because.
Right, and I don't know for sure, but if they haven't been in or, you know, gone up and measured, as members, we always want to make sure that the numbers are right, you know, for your benefit. If you go to sell it too, you know, then you can advertise it as finished square footage if you, even if you're not using it, you know, that's livable space. So it's good that you would know that. Yeah, the other thing that I know is you are FEMA compliant.
Yeah.
And so just in general, when you're looking at other people's properties, I'm pretty sure MVS, who did the reval, said that in general, FEMA compliance, they take whatever the value of your house is, they add another 10%. So if your house is valued at $500, you're gonna get another $50,000 on top of it or whatever because you're FEMA compliant, compared to a non-FEMA compliant house.
Right.
So you can't, that doesn't really get figured into the square footage, it's just the value of the house, and then that's the formula that they use, because as we all know, right, FEMA compliant houses are in more demand. And then if you have the flow through part of it, that probably adds value. I see that they, you know, that's noted in your card, on the bottom under first floor porch, then they do have, you know, flow through basement and flow through garage. So that may add some value, I don't know how much, but the FEMA compliant definitely.
Well, it's actually not a value, it's a big pain.
Well, FEMA likes it, right?
If I have no choice, I had to do it that way.
Yeah.
I would prefer not to have had flow through.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I would rather have been able to store stuff down there.
Right. Okay, so basically, I just want to make sure I know where your number's coming from, the 100,000 you want.
Honestly, I didn't do the
You didn't
mathematical
do any math
calculation.
on it, okay.
I just said, you know, I don't have the rate card in front of me, but I basically just said, I've got a bunch of space up there that is not being livable, and that's why I
Not being
reduced my
used
100.
as livable.
And I didn't contest the land at all, so it's really a house.
Yeah. And in general, we try to look at the whole thing, and then we look for sales.
Yeah.
So is there any sales?
Yeah, and the tough thing is that, you know, this is, I assume that you do it based upon the evaluation date, which is
October 1, 2020. We do for
Yeah.
5 years. So we're
Yeah.
looking at sales for 5 years. We're looking at the same sales for 5 years.
for historical sales, you mean.
Yeah, so in other words,
Yeah.
even if people come in next year, they still need to look at the October 1, 2020 sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the year after, and the beach did really well in.
Well, I have to say, now if I sold it, I probably could get more than what's on the rate card, but I'm looking at it at the time that it was done.
October 1, 2020.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And now, you know, COVID bump was definitely down
There was
there.
a big
A
COVID
lot,
bump.
you know,
I agree.
and on the beach, and it looks like you're an FB8, which means you're before, like, whatever that, is there like a peninsula or something that goes out, gives you more beach than the houses a little bit, and the FB7s that are a little further down?
I noticed that all the ones that are two down from me,
Yeah, because is there like a jetty or something that juts out?
there's a groin.
There's
a
a
groin.
Right, okay.
A
So
jetty.
so all the houses to the east of that, those lots are more valuable because they have more beach. Once you get beyond the groin, then their beach starts to go away. So that's why even if you use the sale a little further down the beach,
Right.
it's not going to be as valuable as yours, and that's why they started coding these houses. But
Well, the
if you're
floor,
on flood erosion, you know.
the 2087 actual sale price was 1357. That was that was 420, so it was actually slightly before the evaluation
Okay.
date.
And that was,
And it was, I think 1,375,000.
and that was in April of 2020.
And that was April
right?
of 20, and that would have been around the
It would have been, so it's an
So
FB7,
it would
their
have gotten a
land,
little bit of a discount because of that.
their land is worth a little less, because they don't have as much beach.
Right. So that's why I used house value only,
Got it, okay.
when I was looking at these.
Yeah, no, I get it. I know, it's always a combination of two, it's tricky, and, you know, math appraisal's never easy, right? You try to make a formula that works for everybody and track. At least this year, they started, you know, counting the docks, because docks have value and things like that, so. Oh, did I ask you this? I probably didn't ask
You
you.
need me to do this?
Yeah, if you could just sign your name, that's all, I can fill in the rest, and you or you, so there's no changes or anything that needs to be made to that, so. No, do you have any other questions for me, or?
No.
All right, so I will have them contact you, your information's on there.
Do you have my phone number? You have phone
Yep,
number?
they'll come out and just check out your attic and make sure that they've got the measurements correct on your field card, and if there's any adjustments, you know, they can.
But what you're saying is, even if I'm using it for storage, they're gonna consider it livable just because it is finished?
Because someone else could use it for that.
Okay, so all you're really gonna do is take the mechanical room off then?
I don't know. I mean, it's worth having them take a look. I don't think they're gonna increase it on you. I don't think. But yeah, I mean, that's the hard part for you guys down there, right? Is that, you know, but for somebody else, if they had, you know, student rental or something, you know, they might wanna use it. Whatever, it becomes valuable because you can put people in that space. So that's the hard part, you know. If you have it, but you're not using it, it still has value for a while.
Whoever buys our house would not student rental it. Well, maybe they would.
You never know these
You
days,
never
you're
know.
getting crazy amounts
They
of money
do
down
get
there,
crazy
right?
amounts.
Okay,
Well,
sounds
thank
good.
you.
Oh, you're welcome, so I'll have them contact you, we're gonna deliberate over the next couple of weeks, and then you'll get your letter within 7 days of the decision. So
Okay.
you'll have it by the end of March.
Okay, great.
So, okay,
Thank you.
nice to see you, thanks.
You want me to tell them? to send it to the next person?
Yeah, he can send the next person up, I think that.
Right in here, or you go, follow the light there, and you should be good.
This is the famous Kathleen? How
I
are you?
am Kathleen, I don't know if I'm saying this, but
How are
my
you?
kids.
Okay.
I'm good, how are you? I'm just finishing up.
Take your time, take your time.
From the previous one to make sure I have it all
Okay.
correct. And, one more sheet goes right on and it'll be good. Fine. You see squeaky chairs and stuff.
I won't move. I'll wait until you finish.
No, it's this, listen to this one, it's so bad. All right. Okay, so if I've got my sheet right here, you're here for 3 properties, is that right?
I am.
Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna, introduce myself first, but then I'm gonna read each one separately, and we'll talk about whichever one you wanna do first,
Okay.
okay? So, I'm Kathleen Griffin, I'm one of 7 members of the Board of Assessment, you can see it, I just don't
Okay.
wanna, 7 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals. I'm gonna hear your appeal today, your hearing is being recorded on this phone right here. And
Fine.
the current time is 7:44 PM, and you have 3 appeals, appeals number 71, 72, and 73, and if you want to tell me which one, you know, yeah, for each one, I'll probably just confirm why you're here, so that would
Okay.
make sense, and when I read it into the
Terrific.
record.
And I did, just out of caution, because I wasn't sure if you needed separate paperwork for each file, I did make everything in triplicate, even though it's basically one issue. So if we take,
Okay, so which one do you want to start with?
let me see, the first, let's go
I have
numerically.
107 Post Road, 119, and 57 Church Road,
Okay.
right?
So, yep, exactly. So if we go, we'll start with 71, which is 107 Post Road.
Okay.
What happened here is...
Oh, okay, so give me 1 second.
Oh, I'm sorry, sure,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no, it's okay. I don't need, are you an attorney?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't need to swear you in, but I just do want you to sign that you were here.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna read some information into the record, and then you can just correct me if any of it.
I'm also a principal in each of these entities, but to be safe, I did an affidavit for myself to myself, so.
That's so funny.
Okay.
Okay, you're good. So I'm just gonna read into the record here. So we're gonna do appeal number 71, and the property address is 107 Post Road. The owner of the property is HON Associates LLC.
That is correct.
Okay, and the town has a value on the property of $632,700, and it looks like you're asking for the same amount, $632,700. Is that?
No.
Are you asking for a reduction, or is there just a penalty?
No, what had happened with regard to this particular matter is that, particular property, I should say, is that I got a notice from the town that my original assessment of $632,700, which I had no intention of appealing, had been increased by 10% to get it to $695,970 because the report that I have filed of income and expenses was logged in by the assessor's office after June 1st of 2021.
Got it. Okay, so I'm just gonna note here. And let me just have you state your name for the record.
Certainly.
And whether you're the owner or the authorized agent.
Robert J. Nicola. I'm an attorney here in that capacity as the agent for Hahn Associates. I'm also the N in Hahn, and I'm one of the members of the entity.
Okay, you did great. All right. So, so this particular one, so it's because, I see. So technically, the property is still valued at $632,700. You just got a penalty of 10%.
Correct.
Because you didn't file your I&E on time.
That is correct.
Okay.
And I had written to Mr. Murray, but I guess he felt it best that I appear here. And what I wanted to, I don't know if you want to make this part of the record or not, but in the past, and what I have here are 4 of the previous annual income and expense reports. The one from 2018 and the one from 2019, both pre-COVID, said in bold type on the top, form must be submitted to the assessor on or before May 31st, 2019 to avoid a 10% penalty. This form must be physically in the assessor's office by 4:30 on May 31st, 2019. Faxes, mails, and postmarks, and then it's emphasized in capitals, will not be accepted. And I was well aware of that, and I made sure that these documents got filed within the time by physically ensuring that they were in the office. Now in 2020, again, which is an exhibit because of COVID, that notice was removed. And that, in fact, because of COVID and the changes in the filing of tax laws also, I think the IRS allowed you to file subsequent to April 15th. The form must be submitted to the assessor on or before August 15th, 2020. The form that I filed this year also states this form must be submitted to the assessor on or before June 1st, 2021. Again, neither of these, either 220 or 221, contains the notice language advising that if you don't file it by then, that it will be result in the imposition of a 10% penalty. And the prior ones that advise you of the imposition of the penalty clearly stated faxes, emails, and postmarks will not be accepted. Now,
Okay, so let me just make sure. So you're saying that the 2019.
Yeah. Would you like me to just give you?
Oh, yeah, if
sure.
they're not, are they in the file?
No, I don't think so. I just.
Okay, yeah, I have some property record cards.
All right.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is the May 2019 one had the penalty notice and they had the no faxes.
Right,
Okay.
and 218 as well, which was pretty
In
much the standard in the
2018,
past.
that's
I've been
the
doing this
standard.
for
Okay.
over 20 years.
Yeah, and then in June of 20, and then the next year, in 2020 during COVID, it still said that it changed the date to August 15th, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but 2021 brought it back again
And even
to June
2020,
1st.
but 2020 still had the penalty wording and the no fax.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No.
Okay, the 2020 didn't have
Right.
that language.
both COVID-related,
And 2021 did not have the language.
correct.
And did 2020 have the penalty?
No, neither one did. There you,
Okay.
that's why I presented them to
Okay.
show you the difference. The other thing is, the governor issued an executive order, which I'll give to you to make part of the file. And in it, this is Executive Order 71 issued by Judge Lamont, Governor Lamont, excuse me.
Number 71, is that what you said? Okay.
Yes, number 71. It was issued on March 21st, 2020. And Section 15 of the executive order provides that deadlines set forth under sections, in this case, we're dealing with 12-63C, which I also have for you.
Okay.
Okay, and that indicated that these penalties, these deadlines were waived. And I think that established that no penalty would be imposed if in fact the deadlines established previously under, as I said, under 18 and 19, which clearly indicated that if you didn't physically have it in the office by the date indicated that you would be penalized. And my opinion is that the form was modified in 20 and 21 in acknowledgement of the executive order issued by Governor Lamont. And I have a copy of executive order number 71, and I marked with a red paper clip number 15, which talks about the fact that deadlines were no longer to be imposed during the period of this executive order.
Okay, but that executive order expired, right?
I'll get into that in a second.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Now, are these for, I just want to see, are you doing it per property or?
I have one for each property after we finish.
This
Yeah.
is just for the first one?
Yeah,
Okay, I just wanna make
this
sure
is
you
for
don't-
107. So this will be for 107 as well. And I turned it to that page,
Okay,
and
okay.
that's the executive order. Now,
The penalties are suspended, that's what it was said, okay.
Yeah.
When this executive order was in place, okay.
and then what happened is,
And this is executive order 71.
correct.
Oh,
Now, the next one I'll be.
and appeal number 71, that's what it was, okay.
Now, subsequently, the governor issued another executive order, which is 12B, which I will give to you as an exhibit. And that contains two areas that I would like to reference. Number 11 of that executive order indicated that any order in here which was not specifically extended, and the third page of this executive order outlines which of his previous orders were extended to the various states noted therein. Executive Order 71 wasn't referenced. It then goes to state that any other executive order will expire on May 28th if it hasn't been extended beyond
On May 28th of 2021?
2021.
Or 2020,
Right. Yeah.
okay. On May 28th, 2020.
2021,
Okay.
correct. And Section 13, which I didn't highlight, but it's here, also goes on to say that any unexpired order, directive, or guidance issued by a municipality, an agency, a department of a municipality, et cetera, which by its own terms provided shall remain in place for the duration of the public health and civil preparedness emergency, which I assume is COVID, will continue to July 20th, 21. It's my position that by providing individuals with forms which no longer advise them of the fact that there could be a penalty assessed if the date indicated on the document wasn't met, that in effect Fairfield had adopted its own order indicating that penalties would not be imposed, because this document, neither 20 or 21 ever stated that if the governor's executive order expires, the deadlines and the penalties provided in section 12-63C will be reinforced. The other
Where
thing,
was 12-63C?
yeah, I'll get you, I have that as well. That's the statute that when you look at my first exhibit,
Oh, that's the standard?
that references the statute itself. I have a copy here.
I thought I wrote that down. You're right, okay, so
Okay.
so the basic INE statute is 12-63.
Correct, that's right, so,
That talks about the penalties. and the
Exactly.
deadline. Okay. And that's the basic statute, okay, that's the standing statute.
so I have that for you as well, I don't want to bury you.
No,
Bury
that's
you.
good.
Okay, so, the other thing, which I guess is really, assuming that it did expire on, May 28th, it indicated at 11:59, as you see in the exhibit I just provided you. I actually put these in the mail on May 28th and have a postmark that confirms that it was in the post by that date. So arguably, I'm not trying to play lawyer here, I'm just trying to be practical. If in fact that order was still in effect on May 28th, my position is that posting it in the mail, and I have a copy of that post if you want it, because I had written Mr. Murray a couple letters and sent him copies, showing that at least technically I complied because the executive order was still in effect when I put those documents in the mail. What happened was, apparently, I have no idea when they were received, but the reason that these were originally signed on different dates is that Churchill Street and 107 Post Road were logged in by the assessor's office at an earlier date, and the other one was, which is 113, was posted for a later date, and they all came in the same envelope. I mailed all three at the
You mailed all three at the same time?
simultaneously.
You have one postmark for all three?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And the postmark says May 28th?
May 28th, and it has the time, and it was before 11:59. Where do I have that? Here we go.
And the deadline for 2020 was August 15th?
Well, the 15th, I think because they extended the deadline for filing your federal and state income tax returns, they extended this as well. That's probably what led to this problem. I usually wait for my return to be filed to make sure the information's accurate, and in 2021, it was May 15th as well. So.
Oh, okay, so the deadline for May 2019 or 2019, it was May 31st or whatever. Okay, and then August 15th in 2020, and what was the deadline in 2021? It was back to June?
It was back to June 1st, but
June 1st.
the federal income tax return was extended from April 15th to May 15th. And I usually prepare this after my accountant prepares the returns.
So you put it in the mail on May 28th,
Yes.
2021, when the executive order was still in place?
Still in effect.
Okay, and that particular executive order?
That was the extension, that was Executive Order 12B.
Right.
Yes.
Saying that all the others expire. So basically what you're saying, there should be no penalty for late filing because you filed before May?
The end of May 28th, correct.
Okay, and it was postmarked and you weren't required to bring it in because of COVID?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did the statute change on bringing it in person?
No, the statute merely says that the assessor has the authority, if you fail to file by the time that they determine you must file, they can impose a 10% penalty, or a penalty equal to 10% of the assessed value.
And that's probably in 12-63?
That's 1263, it's in the second paragraph.
Yeah. Does it say he must or he can? May or shall? We don't know.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Does the statute say he may or he shall?
I think, let me see, I'll read it to you exactly.
Okay.
No, that's the,
It's 12-63C. Oh, you gave it to me. Let's see.
yeah. No, I should have highlighted it.
No,
for you.
no,
it's right. I got it right.
If it's at his discretion or if he's required to.
You're right, I want to be able to explain that myself. Okay. All right, Robert. Oh, yeah. This is subsection D.
D.
Any owner of such property required to submit information to the assessor in accordance with subsection A, which is to fill out the form, for any assessment who fails to submit such information as required or who submits false information shall be subject to a penalty equal to 10% increase in the assessed value of such property for the assessor.
Okay,
Yep,
so
yep.
he's required to.
Yep, exactly.
He's required to give you the
Right.
penalty. Okay. Because I know as a board, such assessor or board may waive such penalty upon receipt of such information in any town in which the legislative body adopts an ordinance allowing it.
Right.
Okay, so we don't have an
No,
ordinance.
you don't.
Right.
No, it's
So I
just,
know we don't have the authority to waive the penalty. The question is, you're just saying that you think the timing of when you put it in the mail, the
I think
executive order
it's
would-
because of the extraordinary impact of COVID on everything, and the fact that the governor issued executive orders saying that these deadlines were to be suspended and the penalties not enforced, is an indication that in this particular period when COVID was with us, that that penalty should not apply.
And you mailed it within the period when the
Correct.
executive order was
Yeah,
still in.
and I can give you a copy of that as well.
Okay.
And it,
And is that the same for all three of these properties?
yes, the handwritten note on here is mine indicating that Churchill Post Road and 119 Post Road were all mailed in the same envelope.
And yet they stamped them in on different days?
That's why I ended up having two different dates for hearings.
I see, and then the Churchill was 57 Churchill,
Right.
right?
And obviously, I hope, where did you finish?
No, I see, I'm looking here, I see the
Yeah.
Pitney Bowes stamp, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because it's not on the form, I don't know that gives you I can tell you probably why it's not on the form, but whether they should have had it on the other one or not, I don't, you see.
Well, I'm assuming, and again, I don't know this, but I'm assuming that it was in response to the governor's
They redid it.
executive order saying that
And
they're
then they
suspended, so they didn't put it on the form that was sent out saying, if you don't do it, this is what the penalty will be.
Okay, and your penalty's 10% on the appraised value or the assessed value of all of the three properties. You're not arguing anything about the assessed value?
Oh, God, no, I mean, they were all
It's
assessed
only
the
the
year
penalty.
before, and I happily accepted them.
Yeah, okay. Well, you gave me a really different appeal than most of my.
Well, I know that, that's
It's good.
why I
We've been dealing with the executive orders in terms of how we can run our meetings or not, can the public come, can they not? Can we meet in
Yes.
person? Do we have to record them? And they changed FOI, and now we do have to record them all the time, even though the executive orders are gone. So there's we've been trying to figure it out the last couple of years as well, so.
it's been odd for all of us, believe me, it's.
It has,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so this is really, a petition for evidence for all three of them.
Absolutely, I mean, I have duplicate,
Yeah, and
copy.
I just want to make sure I understand, this particular one with the three, is it one for each year? I guess
one's
it's-
for 18, one's for 19, which shows the clear delineation that you'll be penalized, and then 20 and 21,
But
after
there's-
COVID hit, it's not on either document. I
Okay.
only did it for that purpose, to show
Yeah,
that before you were put on notice that if you don't get it in, you're in trouble. And
Oh.
after that, it was dropped.
okay, so some of them are 57, one of them is 119.
I did a mix of all three, yeah.
Got it, okay. So it's
yeah.
an example of each year. So
Exactly.
I'm just gonna circle, okay, so
Yeah.
this one's the June, this one's the August, okay. And then the other one's the May,
Correct.
18, and this one did not have it on there. Okay, whether he forgot to put it on his form is, as you probably know, I don't know that that's reason enough that the statutes are not supported unless he has the authority to, I don't remember, I'd have to look at the orders enough, but.
Yeah, I think it's really, in all honesty, the legalities aside, and I think if you look at the executive orders, there was a technical compliance, but just equity dictates that. Why penalize somebody? I was under the impression that they don't want people coming to town hall. I've always made sure they were here before, and we figured we'll put the postmark on in this COVID period, and hopefully it shows good intent. I mean, it wasn't any intention not to file. I've been doing it forever. So,
Right, I wonder if they're gonna change that law, because even, like, for appeals, were always required to come physically in person. Now the definition of in person can be physical or virtual, so in the future.
okay, well-
And that's with FOI, that's FOI, Freedom of Information. So I don't know whether that's gonna apply to, forms and things that have to be physically turned in or not, whether they're gonna change that and allow,
Yeah.
Right, that means someone has to physically bring it into the building and has to be here, I guess. But I know for the hearings, yeah, I got that at the town attorney's office, like, what is that? So now we have virtually in person and physically in person.
Well, I know, it's,
In person has to
everything's
be
turned
either
upside
one.
down. I am curious, so I could ask you a question. Would this penalty be in place for the next 4 years, or just a year?
Only for the year that you.
I see.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's, as you know, whatever the penalty is, if it's 50,000, it's, it's the mill rate times that.
I understand.
So if it was, 50,000, it would be 1,300 or what, a half of 27, the mill rate's what, 27?
Okay.
Yeah, so whatever that increase was. I know we've had some people come in and they think it's that they have to pay $70,000.
Oh, of course.
You know
And
that,
it's-
okay.
Yeah, that could be
No,
frightening.
some people are relieved to hear that it's, the
Especially,
mill rate on that, so it
Yeah.
really adds to that. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll have a good discussion about this and get plenty of information and,
okay. If you need anything else,
we can't waive it, but whether the law applies or not, that's really what your question is.
Yeah, I think it's really a question of whether, it wasn't applicable because of the COVID and the
Exactly.
governor's executive
And the
orders.
executive order being in place when you sent it. Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. Since it's recorded, I can certainly go back and look another time. So
Thank you
okay.
very much.
Okay, anything else you have?
No, that's it. That was it.
Sounds good. So we will be deliberating in the next couple of weeks.
Terrific.
You'll get a letter within 7 days of our decision. And if you don't like our answer, you can go to court. It might be an interesting one to take to court. You never know.
My son-in-law is the town attorney here, so that would be interesting.
Oh, here in Fairfield?
You know Dennis Coquinez, you met him?
He's a town attorney, there?
One of them,
Oh,
They
yes.
they do most of the appellate work.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
sure.
wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you
Okay,
very
thanks
much.
for coming in.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I'm just going to read into the record the 3 appeals that the previous attorney presented all at the same time. The second, as he mentioned, they were Appeal 71, 72, and 73. They were all for the same issue. Appeal number 72, the property address was 119 Post Road. The owner is HON Associates, LLC. The town's value was $456,300. And again, he was asking for the penalty to be waived. And it was attorney Robert Nicola who appeared, and the same for appeal number 73. That property address is 57 Churchill Street. The owner of that property is Hennick Associates, LLC. The town has the property valued at $557,200, and again, he was appealing the penalty on that property.
call cannot be completed.
Hello?
Hi, this is Kathy Griffin calling from the Board of Assessment Appeals in Fairfield for Frank Fioretti. This is Frank.
Yes.
Hi.
Thank you so much for calling. You know, if I could have made it there, I would have, but my wife hasn't been feeling well. I don't want to leave the house.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it. Otherwise, I have no problem to go to Fairfield, and everyone has always been kind there, and I know a lot of the people, you know. Even though I live here, it's an ancient history. I'm there all the time.
Yeah, I hear ya. Okay, so I'm just going to read a couple things into the record here for you. So your hearing is being recorded. So I'm
Yes,
Kathleen.
thank you.
Okay, I'm Kathleen Griffin. I'm one of 7 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals, and I'm, you know, as I said, your hearing is being recorded, and the current time is 8:16 p.m. And I'm just going to read a few things about your appeal, and just correct me if any of it's wrong. Your appeal number is 85. The property address is 34 Judd Street. The owner of the property is Frank Fioretti Jr. The town has the property valued at $367,700, and you're requesting a reduction to $285,000.
Correct.
Okay, and then the second thing I'm going to ask you to do is state your name for the record and whether you're the owner of the property or an authorized agent on behalf of the owner.
This is Frank Fioretti Jr. Excuse my voice is like this. Frank Fioretti Jr., and I am the owner.
You're the owner. Okay, great. And then I know I can't see you, but I trust you. So if you could raise your right hand, I'm going to swear you in.
I will.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, great.
By the way, as a part of history, that whole road was developed by my late father many years ago,
Judd Street?
Yes,
Oh.
the entire, all those houses, the whole thing.
There's a lot on there, yeah.
I know, he was in the Air Force, the B-17 Squadron, you know, and anyway, they, after a year and a half or so there, because he was a builder, they brought him back because of convenience to the government to do construction, you know, also, and mainly this happened after what we did on, you know, on that's long before me, on Judd Street, but he was building in Bridgeport because you had all the arms factories and all, and they had no place to house the workers. In other words, you need housing.
Right.
And we didn't know how long the war was going to be, so he was in charge of building that, you know, the construction of homes for all the people to live in. And anyway, and that's where he discovered after the war to try to develop this area here. It was tough.
Yeah.
Because there was, you know, there was depression and most everything there was GI Bill. You know, he arranged for that to help all the GIs after the war, so they'd be able to buy homes. Anyway, just a bit of history.
Interesting.
That's what I said. I may not be nearby, but I may retire in that home. So anyway,
No.
so go ahead. Any questions? And
No, I think, yeah, sure. No, this is your opportunity to tell me why you think that the town values your property incorrectly at $367,000, and why, if your property was on the market on October 1st of 2020, why you think it would have sold for only or for $285,000.
Oh, you know something? First of all, I don't want to sell it because I want to have a place to go. But the problem there, and everyone has said it, it's right alongside the commercial areas, and there's confusion there. There's extra traffic. The backyard is adjacent to a parking lot, again, commercial, the side, and it is what it is. I mean, that's the location. It's very close to the business, you know, Black Rock Turnpike, which there's a lot of traffic there constantly, you know, into the night. So it would not be an advantage to have children or young kids or even pets. If they were to run loose, you know, there's danger there.
Okay.
No matter how clean people try to be, there's always extra garbage and all that, or the origin is from the business areas across the street also. And this is like a buffer. And so that's, number one is the location.
Okay.
It's not like adjacent to other nice homes, okay, clean, but also it has not been updated or anything. I mean, you know, we try to have the grass cut, and if a tree has to be trimmed or cut, whatever, but it's the same bathroom from 1940s or whatever, the same sinks, you know, the same system. The wiring is the same. It would need new windows. The house needs so much.
Uh-huh.
And when a person, because way back, I don't know, there was an evaluation done. There were so many things that they brought out. It's like, you know, you pay us and we'll take it because it needed so much. So because I don't want to sell it, right? But I do feel that whatever the market is going all around, this has to be set a little bit apart because of its situation. And anyone that goes and look, you know, we try to have it look good. It needs so many things. It needs a facelift. In these windows, it doesn't have AC. It has the old oil system. You know, it needs a lot. And it would need more than a person probably would want to pay. You understand? They want to buy a house that has all these things, I would feel. And that's the reason I'm here. You know, I don't want to sell it. I don't know how many places are similar in situation, being close to commercial areas and all the rest. I don't know that. So that's where the house next to it has, my house has a buffer, right? And a large fence, you know, so they almost cuts out what's around them. And then as you move down, it gets to be a very beautiful area.
Right.
But that's why I'm just saying whatever can be done. You know, I do want to keep it. that's my interest, to maybe live there someday with my wife and, the kids grow up and stuff, but that's my interest, and that's why I'm appealing to the board to do whatever they can.
Okay,
And,
so is it rented?
I do.
You rent it?
I'll tell you, I get $1,600 for that, $1,600 a month, that's it.
Okay.
And they wouldn't pay $1 more,
Mhm.
and it's the way it is right now.
Do you have a regular
In the
tenant?
past, my son went to Fairfield U, in the past, we've inhabited it from time to time,
Okay.
but right now it is.
So you have a year lease with a tenant, a really pretty steady tenant?
Actually, it's
or-
on a month-to-month.
It's
I'll
a
be honest with
month-to-month.
you. At any point, I almost wanted my daughter to move there, but I don't want to put the guy out either,
Uh-huh,
You know what I'm saying, especially during the pandemic.
right.
You understand?
Uh-huh.
Times are tough. I didn't want to put anybody in the street, but it is what it is.
Okay, but in terms of you requested 285, and the town has it at 367. So how did you come up with the 285 number?
I came up with, because you figure, first of all, again, all those things I mentioned, and I know that in the past, even from the 2015 and before, I know that it is they evaluated it at, let me see if I have it here, 226,000, right? And now it's 257, is that correct?
That's the
In other words,
assessed, yeah, that's the assessed value, yep.
So 2015, that's only a few years ago, right? That's not too many years ago. It was 226,000. And nothing has changed to improve my property, right? Nothing has to improve it. It's not like the commercial areas are in better shape or anything else. And, that's why I believe I even appealed to 226, but that's the reason right now. When people want to buy a place, they're going to cut it apart, and I've heard that. You need everything. You need new windows. You need new doors. The doorknobs are the same ones from 1947. And I'm sure that, when we had to get CO from time to time, this was noticed.
Right.
This is, these things are noticed.
Yeah.
So that's how.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at your field card with the property card that shows the numbers. So yeah, you were just talking in assessed dollars, but it looks like the increase from, right, because we do it every 5 years, we do a revaluation. So it looks like primarily what happened to your property is that your lands got more valuable by about, the town added $60,000 in value to your land. Your house value went down by, $9,000 or $8,000, but it's your land that added value. So whether the lots on Judd Street are more valuable, than they were in 2015, what would people pay? Is it a building lot? Do you know the size of it?
Well, 50, I don't know, 50, not even 50 by 100, it's a small lot.
Yeah, 6,000 square feet, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know. But one thing I do know, what good is the lot if the same thing, let's say you knocked it down, the house down, right?
Uh-huh.
But still, you're where you are. The location is where it is.
Right.
You can't change that.
Yep.
In other words, maybe a lot down the street, there's more privacy. It's safer.
Yeah.
Right? It's safer.
Mm-hmm.
But here, this is adjacent to the commercial, no trucks, and all the vehicles come around the corner there. And, that's a concern. I mean, a person wants to raise kids, you want a house like that. It's not commercial. This is a residential house. And that a person would take that into consideration. Are they really going to spend that much money to be in the same situation?
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about it, and I think about it too. I mean, if I was next door, it was about 15 years ago, they were selling the house next door that I sold for actually more years ago, probably much older than you are, but
Wow.
I do recall it was they sold it for $225,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? Something like that. And that house is beautiful. And it has 2 bathrooms. It has a man cave in the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know you have that. I don't have that information. I don't have it, but I do recall because I spoke to the lady many times, and they used to complain about my location because in the interim that we're not there, it was very difficult to get tenants. And tenants were causing a lot of problems.
Right.
There's a lot of, in fact, their value may have gone down because of my house. Because, there was always trouble there. What can I do? It's not my fault,
Right.
But the police will know that. And the police have it on record that, I'm so happy that there's no trouble there.
Yeah.
The person's very clean and everything else. And, I told you that's exactly what it is. If they want to check with the person, they can. But he works from the home through COVID. And I'm just happy that it's clean. They keep it as clean as they can.
Right, and you get some income from it, right? So that helps with the tax. You get $1,500 a month.
I'm very happy about it because there's times that it's empty and the people who want to come in, they don't want to stay and they're not interested. Nobody is interested and they destroy the place too.
Right.
It's hard. It needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
It needs everything. It would be cheaper to probably knock the place down between you and I.
No,
And, I'm just saying, I don't want to sell it. I would like to keep it, but I do feel that that the market for that, even the lot, I don't know how you get gold out of the lot. If there's like a hornet's nest where you have to start digging, I'm just trying to think of an analogy.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not zoned commercial, is it? It's in a residential zone? I know you've got commercial next door, but you couldn't sell the parking. You couldn't sell it for parking to the strip mall.
I don't know that. I don't know that. In other words, who would, I don't know that.
Yeah.
I know that many years ago, a person wanted to put if a law office or something. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was turned down immediately.
Right.
No, because it would have been clean, clean up. No, it was turned down.
Right, but it's right behind the shopping plaza. I just called it up.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, I know
by the side, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, I'm not going to say but there's rodents that may come from garbage dumpsters. There's nothing you can do about that.
Right.
They'll outlive all of us. I'm sorry to say.
I hear
you. Learn from them. Maybe we'll survive.
Yeah.
But there have been problems in the past. That's another. I don't want to mention that, but it's a situation.
Yeah.
That is what it is, and I just don't feel the lot shouldn't be worth as much because of its location and the house. Thank you. It went down. You're saying.
Yeah, the land went up, the house went down. Yeah, that's what happened. The house went down by like 9,000. Yeah, and then the land went up. Yeah.
Yeah, I really feel that even the land, I don't have the breakdown that you did. I'm just saying that overall, I just don't see that it should be going up.
Uh-huh.
But because it's a specific, by the way, Fairfield, my son went there. I had my relatives in Fairfield. That's how my father, ended up there. But, that's a beautiful community. I can't kid you. And my best friend's son is going to Fairfield too. I had a cousin that was a professor there. What a beautiful neighborhood. And I like even the people at Town Hall. I know some of them through the years. I really, it's a beautiful community, and I really would do anything to promote it. But I'm just saying that for this specific location, that it needs help.
Yeah.
And if you could do something, because I want to keep it, I want to keep it, and it would be a nice place to retire someday. I don't have to walk far. All the locations are there for food, whatever.
There's plenty of pancakes right across the street. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, remember Coon's Corner?
Coon's Corner, was that there? Oh, no, I went to Fairfield U, so
when did you graduate?
83, a long time ago.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, my son, I have to talk to him. He was 2005.
Okay, yep.
Oh, yeah, that's a great, he was the head of the Senate, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was involved with the trying to get things done, and he's still an organization down here in New York.
Nice.
He's like the treasurer and accounting, you know, he does that, so, but anyway, whatever you can do, I really will appreciate it, and I wouldn't bother to take your time if I didn't really feel that there was an issue here, you know, there's an issue, you know, and whatever you can do, it may take a look at it again, look at the location, you know, the land is land, but what is surrounding it, you know,
Yeah,
is
you've got a
noise.
shopping mall on one side of the parking lot behind you, I see it.
And in the back also, and all the dumpsters are in the back.
Yeah.
All the dumpsters, so, you know, you think about it, you're gonna raise your children there, how much you're really gonna spend, if you could spend 50 grand more or whatever, you're gonna try to find a place in a nice area, you know, that the dog could run free in case he runs in the street, he's not gonna run into Black Rock Turnpike, you know,
Yeah.
around the corner or something, you know, so I'm just saying that's it, whatever you can do, I really will appreciate it.
Okay. Yep. I hear you. I will, so the deal is that I'll present your appeal to the board at a deliberation session, probably starting next week. Once we take a vote, within 7 days, you'll get a letter, in the mail with a decision. If we grant your appeal, you can't come back for 4 years. If we deny you, you can come back, next year. And either way, if you don't like either one of the decisions, you can go ahead and appeal in court.
By the way, you know, I put the number down there. Do you have latitude with that?
So what we usually do, latitude, I mean, it's a board decision, it's not me. I tell them what you asked for, and I explain your case. We usually try to figure out what it would have sold for, so it's always helpful if you had some sales in an area, you know, to say, well, this is a much nicer house and it sold for that price. So do we do partial reduction? Sometimes we do. If you want to change your ask amount, I can change it from 285 to something else. You let me know that, you know, once you, after tonight, you really can't, you know, we're sort of done with it here.
What I'm saying is, if they said, well, we can do something for him, and you put that through, you understand?
Yes, it would be a partial, it wouldn't be the 285 if we were to do that. Okay.
You know, every little bit helps, you know, these are tough times.
Yeah.
Look at the rent I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's not a high rent, with that whole house, it's just, but then again, you know, it's one person, and it is the situation that it is, but are you kidding, to find someone with kids in this, you know, they'll find someplace else, they'll pay more.
Yeah, you have one bathroom, right? Is it one bathroom on the first floor?
Say again?
But it's a cape, right? So you have one bathroom on the first floor, where are the bedrooms?
That's it, it's only one, and it's the old style, you know, it's very small,
Yeah.
you know, it's very small. So, you know, but that I am a person of understanding, you know, if they want to add a few thousand to the 285, I can understand it, but then again, remember, everything would have to be renovated, everything would have to be done.
Yeah.
You know, it needs new wiring. You know, the wiring is all the way it is. You can only tolerate so many things on that, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it would need a new bathroom, a new kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, geez. What else? It would need all new doors, windows. You just go down the list, and it's like, you know, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
But whatever you can do, I do appreciate it.
Okay.
I would love to see that there's a reduction.
I hear ya.
Because it is heavy. The taxes are high.
Yeah, I hear
The
ya.
taxes are high there, you know, and I will appreciate whatever they can do
Okay.
with sincerity.
Yep.
Well,
I hear
I
ya.
appreciate your time. I really
Okay.
do. Thank you for calling. I wish I was there person.
No worries. I hope your wife feels better soon, so.
I do. I
Okay.
do appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not leaving. Stay around. I'm staying around home.
For sure.
And thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. You have a good night.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye, Frank.
Bye.
Yep,
Bye.
bye. Sometimes we see you, sometimes we see Chris.
Yes, exactly. You never know which one of us you're going to get, but.
It's all good.
Like you had zoning hearings tonight, so I'm doing
Oh, you're out doing a lot of things.
appraisals, right.
All right, so you probably know the drill.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm Kathleen Griffin. I'm one of 7 members of the Board of Assessment Appeals. I'm gonna hear your appeal tonight. Your hearing's being recorded as long as the green light's still on, and the time is 8:40 p.m. So, the next thing I'm gonna do is just read information about the appeal into the record, and you can correct me if any of it's wrong. So, your appeal number, really sharp on this desk. Appeal number is 99. The property address is 9 Old Mill Road. The owner of the property is the Sturgis Cottage LLC. The town has the property valued at $566,600, and you're requesting a value of $450,000. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay, great. And then the next thing, you can tell me whether you are the owner of the property or an agent authorized to appeal on behalf of the owner, and your name.
I am the agent authorized on behalf of the owner, and my name is Robert Russo.
Okay, great. And I don't think I need to swear you in if you're an attorney, is that right?
I think that's correct,
Okay.
but sometimes I'm good either
Sometimes
way.
you wonder?
Right.
Okay, so if you just sign that sheet
Yep.
either way that you were here.
Sign there
And
with my
that is
name
you,
printed.
okay, perfect, and I will date it and put it. Okay. You, nobody else, or you're good? Okay, so now's your opportunity to present your appeal to the board, and why you believe the value is $450 and not the $566 that the town has. And I've got your authorization in here, so that's good.
Fantastic.
And would you have any other backup that you want to add, or at the end you
Yes,
do?
I have
only
had an
have-
appraisal done as of October 1st, 2020 by
Okay.
Dan Conti,
Okay,
and that is really the entire basis of our argument. This is, if you know the famous Sturgis Cottage, the pink house right off of Mill Plain,
I do.
right?
Okay,
This is the garage to it. And in all honesty, the owners of the main home live in the garage and they rent out the main home.
they rent out the big home and live in the other one.
And of course, the main home is famous as the site of the first bathroom in Connecticut, which is still intact and has not been upgraded. You
I
can
did not
see
know that.
right, yeah, how it was originally done there. They, admittedly, so we had appealed the cottage, it's the main home last year, and we were able to get to a favorable resolution on that, so that got them thinking. And we had Dan Conti come back out and look at the garage, really the garage apartment, that is, which is a separate lot, separate property.
Totally separate,
Yes,
right? There's
totally,
no- okay.
totally separate in that instance.
And is it a AAA bill, like what's the,
That's a good
or how
question.
many-
Let's see what it says.
probably on the card somewhere,
Yep.
let's see. It says R2.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it is an R2 zone. And of course, the challenge with this property is the
0.4 acres, okay.
is the size of the property. But Dan was able to find some really good comps all within walking distance. He found,
Okay,
yeah.
so let me find his,
the comps are on, it's just page
I have to pull
2.
my reading, I know, I like my mid-range glasses so I can see you guys, but for these appraisals, I need like a magnifier.
I'm just getting to the point where I'm realizing I'm gonna need reading glasses.
Yeah,
is the challenge.
these
That's
get
what it-
too small.
You go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages in.
Yeah, I see 3 comps, I see 955 Mill Plain,
Right,
21
Ludlow.
and 199.
Henderson, which are all within walking distance, really, at that
Okay.
instance. And so, using those comps, he was able to arrive at a value of $450,000, which we believe is its actual market value as of October 1st, 2020.
Okay. So, let's see, the subject property is 9 Old Mill, the other guys, I always look, so the 955 Mill Plain Road.
Yes.
It was closed on July of 2020 for $470.
Yep, that's
And
correct.
he adjusted it, let's see.
He adjusted it because the land was
You see the
smaller.
land, yeah,
Yep.
this is, you've got .4 on the, it says park/residential, oh, that's the view, I see, okay. And then, so he increased for each one of them, he bumped up the value for the land.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, reduced for the basement, finished grade.
He had to reduce
Number of
significantly
bedrooms.
for gross living area, because
Okay.
the 9 Old Mill is only 1,000 square feet.
It is, okay, so it's 1,000 square
Right.
feet.
So if you look at it, you reduce it 34,000 when comparing to 955.
And the other comps, there's a 1,700 square footage, a 1,300 square foot, and a
Right.
1,300.
It's hard to find a lot of comps for 1,000 square foot
Right.
property.
Okay, so you reduced square footage. Okay, what else about the comps? I know it's Ludlow Court, is the Henderson one on the highway side or the
And
north side?
there is a map that shows the
Oh,
comps
right, I
here.
should probably.
No, hold on, I just, so yeah, if you go in a few more pages.
See the
Oh, no, wait,
subject
it's further.
on Old Mill.
Sorry, it is the third to last page.
Okay,
The Henderson one is just north of the highway.
yep. But whether it's on the north side or south side of Henderson, I'm not sure, but I can
No,
figure
yeah,
that out.
right,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, some of them back up to 95, the
Right.
other ones, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the other one's on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
But if you go 2 more pages from the map, you can see that 199 Henderson, which actually doesn't look like it's on the highway side, just based on the photo.
Where he's got this.
Right, and 955 Mill Plain are they're substantial, they're more substantial properties than 9 Old Mill.
Right, right. Okay, have they done any work to the inside? It looks like interior renovations for $150,000, in 2019, looking at the card.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, are there pictures of the interior here, or did he just do exterior photos?
It looks like they're just exterior photos.
Just exteriors, okay, do you know if he did an interior inspection?
He did do an interior inspection,
He did.
but I could, for whatever reason, there are no photos.
Only because, that's a decent amount of money spent on the renovation.
Absolutely. I believe that part of it was just, structural, as it's a very old property.
When was it?
It's,
Okay. They've got the first floor at 594, they've got a second story at 462, the porch, and then there's a 2-car garage underneath,
yes.
and it's 2 bedrooms. And, okay. It does have central air and gas.
Mhm.
I mean, Old Mill is a nice street, right? So that's, I know it's closer to the Mill Plain of Old Mill, but in
Right,
general, the
right. It
house
doesn't
is
have the view that the
on
main
Old
house
Mill.
has of the park, but it's,
Right, right, and it doesn't, but it also doesn't face 95 as much as the other one does.
I'm looking for a year of construction, but it's not jumping out at me.
This converted carriage house, so
Mhm.
maybe they didn't. Year built 1900, that's
Yeah.
what they have, and the effective year built, they still keep it the same. There is one other house on, I don't know that it's sold, because I used to live over that way, on Mill Plain Road, it's almost identical to this house,
Really?
but it's a garage, it looks like a garage
Right.
from the front,
Right.
but it's on, Mill Plain Road. For some reason, I thought that one had sold, but I would have to, I can't remember the name of the address of it anyway, but, similar, style, it looks like a converted garage from the front, has a style like that. But it's on the east side of Mill Plain Road, just before you get to the 4-way stop, so,
I
anyway.
noticed it, I'll look at it.
Yeah, that's okay, and if it hadn't sold, it's not gonna provide any sales data, I
Right.
just was curious to know, if there was anything. So, all right, anything in particular in the notes, or anything else you wanna say about the adjustments, or which one is maybe the best comp, did you think, for, in terms of, obviously this is a unique style house, the other ones are, either,
Yeah,
too rare of it.
it is certainly, it is very much a unique home, and it's
Right,
all
hard
right,
to comp,
but,
right, yeah.
Size-wise, 21 Ludlow is the closest to it in size, while still having, over 200 more square feet. in that
Right.
instance, And that went for 420.
Right, okay. And that one's got the one car underneath.
Right.
There by the train station. Yeah,
But, its location so close to the train station makes it a very attractive property.
right, because you can walk really
You
easily.
you can walk from 9 Old Mill, it's just long in the rain.
Exactly. Yep. All right, anything else you want to
That's
say
it.
about it? That's it.
That's
All right,
it.
so we'll add this to the record, and, we will be, I think we're gonna start deliberations next week. So whether it'll go with St. Patrick's Day in the middle of the week, I don't know, that, how many of us are gonna be willing to show up on Thursday night, so. I don't know that we'll finish them all next week, but certainly within the next 2 weeks, as you know, you get your letter.
Well, I'm 99, so there's a decent number this year.
There's not 650 like last.
No, but last year was a reval year, I get that. I mean, last year we filed dozens. I don't think we filed 10 this year.
Yeah, I think it's the lowest year in, I don't know what he said, 15 years or
It
something.
was just because he did it all last year.
Either that he did it all last year, or he did a good job, or I don't know which, it was very publicized last year, so that brought, and obviously the beach went way up last year.
Yeah.
So a lot of people from the beach came in, whether they had, just because their percentage increases were so huge.
Right.
So it was really busy. So no, I think we have 120.
Okay.
And, a decent amount of commercial, personal property.
Right,
It's not a ton of, single-family residence real estate. So hopefully it will go, some condos, a few other things. Hopefully it'll go pretty quickly. So you should, you'll get a notice within 7 days. If they don't like the decision, they can take it to court. Yep, and if they do get a reduction, they can't come back for 4 years. If they don't, they can come back again next year. So,
Thank
all
you.
right, thanks
I
for coming
appreciate
out.
it. Have a good
Last
evening.
one of the night.
Well,
Yep, thanks for making it short.
Happy to make it short.
Good, okay.
I find the appraiser's work speaks better than anything.
I hear ya.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. It is 8:52 PM. This concludes the March 8th, 2020 hearing session of the Board of Assessment Appeals in room number 2.